Welcome to Madison City Channel's Know Your Candidates interviews, co-sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Dane County. I'm your interviewer, Diane Liebert, and I'd like to introduce Jason Knoll, running for Dane County Supervisor in District 32. As we begin, I'd like you to give an opening statement as to your educational, vocational, and civic experience, which qualifies you for this office, and why you are running for the Dane County Board.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me here. My educational experience, I went to UW-Whitewater, got both my bachelor's and my master's degrees from there. I'm a high school teacher, so I've actually dedicated my entire adult career to public service. I've been teaching social studies at Verona Area High School for 16 years, and before that I was in the military for 11 years. In fact, I joined the reserves in between my junior and senior years of high school. So before my adult life began, I've been doing public service. So I kind of know a little bit about the importance of government and how important it is to keeping our communities healthy, vibrant, and safe. My wife is also a teacher. Actually, we have 3 kids. But I'm running for Dane County Board for the same reason I became a teacher, and that's to help people and to make a positive difference in their lives.
Thank you. Okay, question number 1. Lack of affordable housing and the pressure it brings to the issue of homelessness is a chronic problem that Dane County cannot seem to get ahead of. What do you believe should be the board priorities for these issues?
Yeah, well, that's an important issue, especially because in the district where I teach, last year alone, about 125 students were identified as homeless, and that's just identified. And in Dane County, all of the school districts identified just under 2,000 students as being homeless. So housing is a big issue. We also have a problem with homeless veterans. I'm a veteran, and so I'm aware that we have roughly 1,200 veterans who are living below the poverty line, and the board is doing a great job right now of addressing affordable housing for veterans. So I think a big priority should be looking for adequate, safe, affordable housing. And we also need to make sure that when people are looking for housing, that there's some way for them to build equity. So it's not just apartments, we're looking at condos, townhomes, and single-family houses, but also then wherever we build and expand, that we're making sure that it's environmentally friendly as well.
Okay, number 2. With the growth and spread of population in Dane County, what do you believe are the most significant transportation/environmental issues facing the Dane County Board, and how do you think these issues need to be addressed?
Yeah, well, and the population is going to grow even more. Right now, the population projections have Dane County growing by about 100,000 by 2040. So there's going to be a need not just for housing, but also for reliable transportation. And if we really want to address some of the issues of unemployment and education, we need to make sure that people who don't have who don't own their own cars or own their own transportation have access to affordable public transportation. And so I think that it's important for the board to be considering something similar to a regional transit authority, and to improve and encourage people to take public transportation as an option, because that also then helps with the environment. It helps create jobs. If more people are using public transportation, more people have to drive the buses and whatever else there is, so that helps with unemployment. It also helps reduce the greenhouse gas emissions and carbon dioxide from all the cars on the road. So,
okay, thank you. What public safety issue or issues do you believe are most pressing that need the attention of the Dane County Board?
Yeah, well, I think the board just voted on the funding for the new jail. I think when it comes to criminal justice, we need to reform our system. First of all, anybody who's incarcerated, no matter what reason they're there, we need to make sure that their conditions are humane. But then we need to look at how we can reform it and prevent people from actually being incarcerated. That may include ideas like proper medical and mental health services, rehabilitation services. We definitely want to make sure that kids aren't going to jail. So we want to end the school to prison pipeline. The jail study showed that 8% of inmates were under the age of 20. So we're talking about impacting kids' futures. And then we also need to take a look at making sure that jail is as a last resort making sure that the punishment fits the crime, and then looking at how jail time might affect certain communities more than others.
Okay, thank you. What do you believe is a specific issue of most concern to the residents of your district, and how do you want to work on solving it?
Well, Verona's growing and growing. And so I think that as we grow and continue to grow, we need to take into account a couple of issues. Number one is economic growth. Number two is social responsibility, that people who need the help receive the help that they need. Number three then is also environmental sustainability. So as we grow, we want to have new housing, we want to have workforce housing, because we want people who work in Verona, for example, to live in Verona. But we also want to make sure that we're protecting the environment while we're there, but that Verona continues to thrive.
Okay. What one or two personal qualities do you have that will make you the best representative on the Dane County Board for your district residents?
I think leading by example is one. This is something that I've done when I was in the military, but also as a teacher, is to lead by example for my students, showing them that learning never ends, and showing them how important that the topics that we're learning about are, and being passionate about them. But that also leads to the second one then, is that I love policy. I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to that, and so I really enjoy looking at policy and thinking about ideas and solutions to address the problems and to, as I said earlier, make the world a better place and help people.
Okay. Which board committees do you believe you should serve on, and why?
Well, I definitely, one of my big priorities is addressing the issue of poverty, and in particular child poverty. Right now, the Dane County child poverty rate is at around 13%. But if we dig a little bit deeper and look how that's broken down by race, we see that African American children, the rate for African American children is around 50% living in poverty. That's unacceptable. So I want to make sure that children and families receive the services they need to live their lives in dignity and fulfill their potential. As a result, I think that the Health and Human Services Committee is probably one of the committees I'd really like to be on.
Okay. How do you envision, as a Dane County Board Supervisor, working with other municipal officials within Dane County?
Yeah, well, that's a really important area, given the fact that, this is really sort of one big, large metropolitan area when you look at it by definition. But we also need to remember that each municipality has its own needs and concerns and resources. But that means then that there's a lot of opportunity for collaboration and cooperation among the municipalities to address the issues that we all hold in common. So I'm actually looking very much forward to working with not just the other Dane County board members who represent those areas, but also then the local city council alders and mayors and city managers and even school boards.
Okay, thank you. And what would you like to say to the viewing audience as we complete this interview?
Yeah, well, I really appreciate being here. As I mentioned earlier, I've dedicated my entire adult life to public service. Having served in the military for 11 years and been a high school teacher for 16 years. And I believe that my experiences and my background as a father, a teacher, and a veteran make me a highly qualified candidate for the Dane County Board. And with your support, we'll be able to continue to make Verona and Dane County a great place to live. And I ask for your support on April 3rd.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I want to thank Jason Knoll for speaking with us, and the viewing audience for taking the time to watch Know Your Candidates. As with every election, please vote. On behalf of the Madison City Channel and the Dane County League of Women Voters, I want to thank you for joining us.